Alright, it is day 3 of 4 for all the planets and all the scannables. Right off the bat here, I'm going to put the table of contents. You can skip to whatever section you want to do right off the bat, right at the beginning here, because I do have a couple clarifications about the previous 2 videos, which you can find links for in the description if you want to go get those ones. But there's three clarifications I want to make. First, for this video, Nessus has a total of 38 scannables that are available to find on the planet. In this video, there will only be 37. That is because the 38th one is found in the Exodus Crash Strike, and for the life of me, I cannot queue into an Exodus Crash Strike to get that scannable. So there is one additional one that is not included in the video. The second thing, I've gotten 2 tweets over the last couple days and a bunch of comments about it, but specifically these tweets brought it to my attention. One about the EDZ video. It says, hey, I got 38 scannables on EDZ. I followed your video, so not sure where my other one came from. Well, it turns out Bungie has addressed this in the This Week at Bungie yesterday. They stated that the scannables on the farm aren't being counted appropriately, so for some people, it just doesn't count them, and for others, like in the case of this tweet, it shows 38, and I haven't had anyone say they have 39, 40, or 41, but the farm isn't counting properly, so that's why you might have 38, and others will have 37. And the second tweet was in the same vein. It said, same again, you don't suppose the faction scannables counts, do you? And no, that is not the case. The reason you have 21 is because I actually missed one. I was previously under the assumption that there was a broken, glitched one that is supposed to be right outside of Sloane's room. Well, it turns out that glitched one isn't actually the one that is the 21st, but instead this one right here. I'm going to show it to you, and then after that one is shown, I'm going to go straight into not talking anymore like I do in the last 2 videos. So if you did enjoy this video and it helped you out, hit that like button. If you are new here, subscribe. But with all that said, I'm gonna get out of here. Say my name is Matt. I'll see you guys tomorrow for IO.
It seems like these floating stones mark places where the Hive have weakened the line between our world and theirs. Yet all the weird magic they have out here comes from sources like this. Why set up a terminal this far from the Exodus Black? Must have been some kind of last-ditch effort by Failsafe's crew. Poor folks. The Fallen set up this terminal for remote access into the Exodus Black's security system. I could have told them that wouldn't work. Bet Failsafe had fun with them, though. Wonder what the Fallen are planning to do with these. Some kind of remote probes to study the Vex? Raw materials for something? This servitor shorted out when it tried to interface with the Exodus Black's network, and then limped out here to shut down. It looks like Failsafe wasn't gentle. This thing is full of ether, but it's been diluted somehow. Maybe a byproduct of the weird atmosphere on Nessus. Or maybe things are more dire for the Fallen than we thought. This isn't like other Vex technology I've seen. I think it's a relic from past iterations. Or maybe future iterations. You can never tell with the Vex. The surface of this goblin was oxidized by some kind of fallen energy weapon. Always interesting to see how such different races interact at a technological level. In this case, mostly they were trying to melt each other, but you get me. Someone tried to reforge this conductive metal into, I'm not sure what. It must have been the Fallen, which means that they thought it was valuable. The Vex don't usually display trophies, but I can't see any other reason for why this device is here. Something related to the crash of the Exodus Black? What a bunch of jerks. This arc spear was never used, just leaning against a Golden Age agriculture container forever. I'm not sure the Fallen were really ready for what they found out here. I can relate. This must be scrap from the Exodus Black. Antennas like this were installed on colony ships for last-minute ionospheric composition during landings. In some simulation of some far distant future on some alternate version of Nessus, this energy beam might serve some purpose that we understand. Not here, though. There's nothing special about this crystal shard. Well, other than it being buried in a radiolarian vapor cloud that carries the energy readings of 6 stars. Yeah, I guess that's pretty special. This particle beam is responsible for holding this entire structure together. How do the Vex... No, don't think too hard about it. I'm still defragging from the last time I tried to figure out their physics. Putting a security node this close to a radiolarian waterfall is such an obvious trick to get us to fall off. Those Vex, always the clever architects. This crystal has an energy signature, but it's here and also halfway across the planetoid. I think it fell into a Vex gate and got half teleported. Kind of like what happened to Cade. A conflux that's directly connected to Mars. The Vex there are having a heck of a time with the Red Legion, it seems like. Garden Gate gone. Bay lost. Bastion fallen. Huh. A random fallen spear, a long way from an owner. Be a lonely place to run into the Vex without backup. This is like a cornerstone for Nessus, put here by the Vex to mark linear time. It's been 127 of our years since Nessus last traveled through our system. I don't know how many Vex years that is. The Vex never leave decommissioned units out in the open like this. Claw marks around the fluid chamber. I think the Fallen drained this construct. Huh. For a second, I thought there was some kind of SIVA outbreak on Nessus. That would be bad on so many levels. How about we never see that stuff again? Even broken Vex gates are pretty interesting. This one is emitting radio waves. I can almost... Okay, somehow the Vex are listening to classic rock from the Golden Age. They're death robots with good taste in music.
Yes, they do. That is also possible.
Emergency off-site data storage for the Vex, but it's missing too many components to function. Too bad. I hear Ikora was looking for a weird, hovering static chrono drive to add to her office collection. They sure put this one out of the way. I was able to access their network for 2 cycles before they booted me. All I got was something about endless trees, or forest? Weird. Looks like the Vex didn't like the Fallen moving in on their territory. Interesting that they'd smash a servitor instead of trying to convert it. This reminds me of one of Xur's strange coins. A big one. Come to think of it, do we even know where strange coins come from? Hezen Protective. But I thought they were only deployed on Venus. Does this mean different Vex units have started traveling through gates? That's not great. I'm getting some weird readings from this conflux. Hey, remember the old Vault of Glass? There are some fractured headers here marked Atheon, Sekrion, Theosion. Ah! I think this conflux reacted to your exo body, and then it burned out. Is there some connection between the exos and the Vex? That can't be. If I'm reading this right, when the Vex first installed them, there were over 200 of these here. But as the conversion process went along, they all got absorbed. The readings off of this construct. If I'm reading this right, it's been all across the galaxy. And I thought we were well-traveled. I'm getting some interesting signals here. This thing is connecting to something. Opposite Mercury's orbit on the far side of the sun. What's out there? If I'm reading this right, there are other gardens, like Black Garden gardens. I couldn't tell if they were being built or were already destroyed. What does it mean? Okay, so this gate is too small for a Hydra to fit through. But according to this, dozens of Hydras passed through before it broke down. So either the gate got smaller at some point, or there are hundreds of tiny Hydras out there somewhere. This device is ordinarily used to shield a Vex gate, but not anymore. It looks like a buckler from stories they used to tell in the city. The really old stories, before we even knew what a Vex was. I think they're running a test to see if they can get this thing to self-replicate. And failing, thank goodness. If the Vex were able to manipulate matter that easily, we'd be in a lot more trouble. This crystal's made of the same material as the lighthouse on Mercury. Remember the first time we went there? I wonder if it's still out there